Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Shanita. I provide content on the DoorDash platform, gig economy work, as well as a strategy to help you pay down your student loan debt faster. Once a month, I come on here and I share my financial journey with you guys towards becoming student loan debt free, sharing my monthly earnings on the DoorDash platform and applying those earnings as an overpayment each month towards my student loans. So if any of these topics interest you, consider subscribing. Hi guys! So lots of positive developments for the month of May. Starting off, I took a much needed break away from social media. It was more like a mental health break. If you have been giving me a follow on my Instagram page and you haven't seen any traction or activity, that's pretty much probably why. However, I have been doing a lot of content strategy planning, so I am looking forward to getting back in the game and connecting with you all on that platform. As you may recall in this video, I mentioned all the federal funding that was being offered to gig workers. I was finally funded for the PPP, known as the Paycheck Protection Program, extended to gig workers, using their 1040 and Schedule C form. In addition to the provision that included gig workers, the second draw application of PPP allowed gig workers to use their gross income from line 7 to calculate their maximum eligible PPP loan amount. It also increased the amount by multiplying the average monthly net or gross income of the gig worker amount by 2.5.
Huh?
Now, if you're completely confused about what I'm saying, I gave a thorough breakdown of what these documents mean in this video here. Then in this video, I talked about how I shared with you how I entered in my account number wrong, and for that reason, the funds that they were trying to deposit bounced back. And as a result of that, that created a red flag, which then meant that the application agency that was housing the loan to be offered to me then had to do some checks and balances to make sure I was the right one asking for the funds, which I think inevitably was a blessing in disguise, because I think if I had gotten that money when I did, I may have spent it differently and perhaps maybe even irresponsibly. Whereas now, receiving it at this point in time, my obligations and priorities have changed. And therefore, the level of respect that I have for the funding that was being offered to us during the pandemic has also changed. So a part of the conditions to getting the PPP loan forgiven, 40% of the loan amount must be used on business expenses, basically operational cost of running the business. Now, if you want a deeper dive on what my operational costs for running my gig work, be sure to click on the video here. The remaining 60% of those funds then can be applied to payroll. Now, if you're an independent contractor, that means payroll would be you, and you would then use those funds to take care of any of your personal obligations, bills, expenses, or otherwise known as owner's compensation replacement. So this was a game changer for me, because as you all know, if you've been following my journey since the beginning, I've been letting you guys in on my real-time numbers of how much I'm bringing in each month and applying it to my student loan debt. And therefore, you also know that I have been coming up short every single month, not making close to what I used to make before the pandemic. So when they extended the provisions to gig workers, I jumped all over it. So because I was given the funds, I was able to spend a portion of that on my business expenses, which in this case would be my car. And as I mentioned in this video, I reported to you that I needed to get my AC fixed badly. And now that it's in the 90s here in Houston, I'm really happy that I was able to get that done. While I knew it was going to be expensive, I had absolutely no idea how expensive it was to get what I needed done for my car. The remaining loan amount will be applied to bills. And as you know, here on this platform, I've been documenting my financial journey towards getting out of my student loans. So the remaining amount I'm going to apply to a bill, which is my student loan. So in June's update video, I'll talk more about that. I'll leave a link below in the description box that talks more about the PPP loan as it applies to gig workers and how the funds should be allocated. Now, the PPP loan forgiveness application, from what I understand, is supposed to be released sometime in July. So at that point, I'll go in and fill out whatever it's being asked of me to fill out, given that I have the proper documentation to support what I use the funds for, and I hopefully will get approved for forgiveness for those PPP funds extended to gig workers. So then I received an email from the SBA extending me an opportunity to apply for the targeted EIDL advance, which provides eligible businesses with up to $10,000 in total grant access. Now, there were 3 guidelines that you had to have in order to get the funding for this targeted EIDL advance. But the first one is that you needed to be serving a low-income community. You also needed to be suffering an economic loss greater than 30%, and you needed to have fewer than 300 employees. Now, as you all know, I have been fully transparent about what my earnings have been for every single month and what they were last year. And I definitely was suffering economic loss of wages greater than 30%. Because I'm a sole proprietor, I'm the only employee, so I definitely met that criteria. And it also said that I had to be serving a low-income community. Now, unfortunately, I did not meet that criteria. Now, to help give a better perspective, they then provided a link to a map, and all of the darker shades on the map indicate the zip codes that are designated as low-income communities. But nevertheless, all of these different benefit packages just reassured me how important it is to keep track of all of your business expenses as well as your tax documentation. So let's take a look at my May earnings for the year 2020. Wow. So for the month of May 2020, I made $1,609.65. And for the month of May 2021, this month I was also very short of achieving my monthly goal. I made a significantly less amount in the amount of $523.61. While it's not anywhere near what I thought I'd be putting towards my student loan overpayment, $523.61 is still decent, and if somebody were to give it to me, I would definitely take it. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this amount towards my student loan debt. So without further ado, let's pay some bills. As you can see, at the time I was scheduled to make my overpayment, my balance on this loan is $13,836.61. I'm making an overpayment of $523.61. Pressing submit and close, and there it goes. Now, granted, this is not going to be a significant dent in my current balance, but considering where I started in the beginning of this journey and where I am now, I'm very, very pleased. My balance when I made the initial payment on the 3rd was $13,836.61. On the 12th, it went down to $13,333.99. In the beginning of January, the balance on this one loan was $18,401.10. The initial loan amount that I was extended was $15,375. In the month of May, it is the first time that I have seen this loan balance lower than the initial release amount. This is a huge accomplishment, and if there's anyone else who is going through this and is, feeling defeated, or they're feeling like there's no end in sight, there is. It just takes a while, and just give it time, just keep chugging at it, chipping away at it, and it'll eventually go down. And so I do feel a sense of encouragement to keep going. While not at the finish line yet, it does give me encouragement to keep going. So here's what I'm looking forward to in the month of June. Staying out longer summer days, which means that there's more money to be made because my dash time has now been extended. So while I have shared with you that I'm not making as much money as I did last year, I have noticed that people tend to be ordering much later in the day. So the peak time that I would have normally had last year or even in the fall has now changed towards a much later time in the day. And so I've made adjustments to my schedule to accommodate when I could find those customers who tend to order later in the day. If you want to learn more information on the strategy behind when to dash, when's the best time to dash, and where to go to dash during those pest times, be sure to click on this video here. Hurricane season is upon us. Now, I am not saying I'm looking forward to hurricane season, but I am saying that if it happens to be a light rain or something like that, you know what that means. That's money coming down from the sky. On the DoorDash platform, there is an incentive for peak pay, and peak pay is usually offered during either peak times in the day when it's mostly heavy traffic, or when there's inclement weather and they need more drivers on the road, and the DoorDash platform uses peak pay as an incentive to get more drivers out on the road. Safely, that is. Also in the month of June, I'm looking forward to doing my mid-year review on how things have been going with my financial journey here on this channel, and reviewing some of my old videos so that I can reflect on some of the things that I've said in those videos, and to just get a general check-in on how I'm doing. To be notified when I have released that video, be sure to hit the subscription button as well as hitting that notification bell. And to catch up on the last 4 months of my debt-free journey, be sure to click on the playlist here. And to subscribe, click here. Bye!